what I think. I should do it. So I got to work, and I'm gonna put a hair elastic in, man. And then what I did was just grab all the records and kind of file them in an order. But I don't know the numerical order. Fuck. Nah, I'll just do it anyway. So the first thing I got is this thing, Tony Bananas and the Beetle Bugs or whatever, live in Germany. And I can't really rank it because I haven't opened it. Or there's like a little rip, but otherwise it's sealed up, and my desire to listen to it does not outweigh my desire to unseal it. So can't really count it as anything. And then at the bottom of the heap besides that is the old Capitol Music, Real Music. And I bought it for just the ugly design, and but it does have a luxury insert, I think, in there somewhere. So, have a peek at that. Look at that ugly John Lennon, eh? It looks like, honestly, it looks like Ringo. So it's got a picture of Ringo dressed as John Lennon, Abbey Road cover style. But it does have a glossy book, like, what the hell, eh? So that would be the bottom of the bottom of the pile. Maybe I should figure out what the number is for it. This is gonna be a mess to clean up, man. Okay, I'll go from here. Let me see, 1. I'll reveal the 1 at the end. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17. Okay, we can remember. I'll remember that we can start counting at 17, and we can remember that by, she was just 17. It's a Beatles device. Okay, so I guess then I got these buggers, the Reds, and I think one of these is Donna's actually, and then one of them is mine that I got at Salvation Army, I think, in Toronto, and it has this letter inside of it, and let's give it a read. Dear Sarah, so I guess sometime this week it's your 28th B-Day. You know, there's just nothing really special about turning 28. This is pretty witty. It's not like an 18th birthday or like turning 30 or 40. 28 is just plain boring. And I am certainly not gonna try and make your 28th special. What a charmer this is. So I got you nothing for this birthday. Sorry. But I did get you a few little things for your 30th, so please don't open anything for the next 2 years, and please don't read the letter on the next page until you are actually celebrating your 30th birthday. Anyway, happy 28th. Happy 28th. Signed, O. On really cool, looks like expensive handmade stationery. Then there's another letter for, wow, you were 30 years old. Total stoner did this. So that's pretty cool. And there was also like a postcard from Jamaica in there, but took it out and put it on the fridge. Then we got, this is in the barely numbered zone, Soundtrack to Help, and just so American looking. Oh, wow. Or, Capitol Records looking. And this thing as well too, something new. But it's basically it's like if you paired this up with the United Artists Capitol, which I actually have a lot higher, the United Artists Hard Day's Night soundtrack. I won't pull it out, but because it's in order. But it's kind of like the leftover crap from that, or the leftover Hard Day's Night tracks. And then another in the low rankings is the American Revolver, you know? It's missing. I'm not going to complain. But I will say it's omitting maybe my standout Revolver tracks that I really love are missing on there, the John shit. And that's all on Yesterday and Today, which is ranked pretty high. I like that record. Anyway, then now we got this one. Now this is getting pretty good, I think. Like this Beatles V, or Beatles 6, V plus I is 6. And this has got some really, it's not a standout record, but it's got like, you know, clunkers that are, you like to hear, such as Bad Boy. Now, I know it's a scrappy recording and everything, but I like that song. I'm always excited to hear it. I think of it as a rarity somehow, but it's not, I guess. And then it's got some great Beatles for sale, like I don't want to spoil the party, so I'll go. Yeehaw, hate my disappointment to show. And it goes to some minor chord. Nothing for me here, so I will disappear. Good guess. Turn up while she's gone, you'll let me know. So any record that has that, I think it's pretty good. Then we, next on the old pile, we got these squarey guys. The Beatles' second tablet, which has still got some shrink wrap on it, which I love. I like when there's shrink wrap on it. It's exciting for me. It's the peak of my life. But these guys are, they're still, like, they got the same cover, but you got second album and Long Tall Sally as titles. Totally weird. And the thing, I think this is better. Long Tall Sally's better. I'm going to put it ahead of Beatles' second album because it's got I Want to Hold Your Hand as the lead-off track. And this guy's got Roll Over Beethoven. And that's a great lead-off track. It's got the... Oh yeah, I'll tell you something. Think you gotta understand that Yesterday and Today is the next one on the list. And maybe we're getting close to being 17, 18, 19. Okay, so yeah, we're at 20, say. So say this is this is breaking into the top 20, and it's got the good John tunes on here. I'm Only Sleeping, which I opened the video actually. When I wake up early in the morning, I drift my head. I'm still young. When I'm in the middle of a dream, stay in bed. Float upstream, please don't wake me, no, don't shake me, leave me where I am, I'm only sleeping. Okay, enough. So, and Dr. Robert, which I freaking love on Revolver, and it's missing on, I think it's missing on the, yeah, it's missing on the US Revolver. And so yeah, I like this, and I like the album cover. It's just ugly and funky, and once again, or not once again, no matching uniforms anymore. Everybody's got their own personal uniform. It's a little bit much. And yeah, I would one day get a Butcher, want to get a Butcher cover. There was a guy who had one on Facebook Marketplace in Winnipeg, and I made an offer, but I offered like $200, which is like, that's pretty cheap. I'm just a cheap bastard. Like all this stuff I get, a lot of it is Salvation Army and stuff like that. So I like to find stuff digging around in a box, and there is a cheapness. You know, I think my Scottish genes shine through sometimes. But there really is an addiction of the finding it in a dusty little zone. It's like heroin. It's just like you find it in the box and you're like, which you don't feel the same way as if you order it off Discogs or whatever. Okay, then next we got the crazy and crazy good American Rubber Soul with all the folky opening of I've Just Seen a Face, which is good, but a good opening, but I don't like that song very much. Am I an asshole? You know? I just think it's an annoying song. And but it's not horrible, but it but otherwise you got yeah, you got I get high when I see you go by. Then this weird chord, butterfly, how can I just make the nighttime bright? Very bright, haven't I the right to make it up, girl? It's only love and that is all. Why should I feel the way I do? Third time's a charm. It's only love and that is all. But it's so hard loving you. Sexsmith does that one better than I did. And okay, so then at number whatever, 18, we got the oldies and the goldies. Love this album cover, and yeah, it's it's terrible, especially this font, but I love it. I do. But then this part is the coolest part. You get the bunch of these guys are high as fuck, just doing cool shit in Tokyo and sounding like crap at the Budokan, you know, just like the harmonies are just okay. So yeah, I love this compilation, and this one has a good tune on there called yeah, it's all blurry, Panty Lane. It's got Panty Lane, and there's another variant on here, but this is a Korean pressing that I got at the Buy and Sell in Toronto, my beloved place. And I was just there this weekend, and it's gone. Yeah, it's fully closed, and they have paper over the windows. And I looked in, and you could see some tools on the floor, and none of the stuff was there. So, end of an era. Love you, Raz. And it felt reassuring in a way that he closed at the same time we left Toronto. Like, yeah, that little magic dusty corner just feels like it was mine. And I think a lot of people feel that way. A lot of junk collectors and cheapskates. All right. And then number 17, this guy, Blue. And really good compilation. I like that it has the album, like, you're getting a mix of the singles, and then, like, they're treating standout album tracks as kind of as singles too. And this actually does have his, you know, like, it resonates with me. I used to listen to, this is the first source for some older song, like, of the late period songs that I ever had access to, like I forget, but it's a good compilation. I think it's better than the red one for some reason. It seems less, the red one just seems a little mercenary. I don't know why. Maybe it's because it's got the theme music from the Help movie on there, that James Bond Sting. I feel like that was a mistake. Don't put that in, even though it was kind of freaky. But I don't know. It has this. So this would be number 1716. And that's Rock and Roll Volume 2. Oh boy, do I ever love this record. And this is, like, it's funny in the sequence of me getting into the Beatles, and it was a major force in my life. And still is in a little way, but you get saturated from time to time. But this guy, the Rock and Roll Volume 2, back in the U.S., or Helter Skelter is on there. You know, Hey Bulldog on there. Taxman, like, and this is the first place I heard was because I grew up in the country, and not a ton of money to buy stuff with, or stores that had the shit. So whenever I think my friend Ryan's mom had this. I think she had Rock and Roll Volume 1, but one of my sister's friends' parents let us borrow this, and we taped it, and it had it was the first time hearing Gotta Get You Into My Life. Like, I heard it before, a lot of stuff on here first, and I'm Down, hearing that for the first time, and he's like, I think that song is just inventing the heavy metal vocal. Like, it really did sound like heavy metal singing, and blew my mind. All right, so here we are at 17, 16, maybe 15, and the good old Yellow Submarine soundtrack. And I love the soundtrack side, even though the thing is, this copy is shredded on the soundtrack side, which I gotta get another one. I will as soon as I see one too. Yeah, some of the songs, I remember when I first heard them, like Only a Northern Song, it did start to seem very lazy. Like, I remember thinking, that is like a lazy Sgt. Pepper's vibe. But I love those lazy Sgt. Pepper, especially It's All Too Much, that Suyama opening and whatever that is. And all together. So I think it's an underrated record. I think if you're only ranking EMI press, the official ones, it's not that good. But the thing is, comparing the Beatles to itself that's only one side of it. You gotta compare the Beatles to everything else. And, by that token, Yellow Submarine is banging, it's... and then after that, I guess number 14, Let It Be. And, I love this record. It's a good... I love I'm a big one for all the little, I dig a pygmy, said Charles Hawtrey on the Death Aids. Phase 1, in which Doris gets her notes, and then... Two of us wearing raincoats. I used to love that song, but definitely after seeing the 9-hour movie Get Back, you see that song, it's a little bit hollower than I hoped. And you can see John was skeptical of it, and McCartney was just kind of ramming it down his throat, like, no, we've got to have a song where we got a close harmony singing, that's what, it's always good to keep that going. And I think that's exactly the thing that was just getting on John Lennon's nerves. Like, it's so annoying. Like, nobody wants to go back. I don't know. It's, especially once you get older, you don't want to follow the group formula. You want to have a beard and take pictures of your balls for Rolling Stone. or for the John and Yoko's wedding album. It's like... okay, so then I think lucky number 13 we're at, Beatles Help. I love Help. I feel Help sounds like the way it looks. It's just very white. But, you got one of my favorite, I think, if If you can guess, try to guess. I'll give you 30 seconds to guess what my favorite song on Help and even overall is. That's right, it's track 7 on side 1, Ticket to Ride. Think I'm gonna be sad, 'cause I missed out on Beatlemania with the Beatles. So, yeah, I had... Oh, you know what? What I've got going on here is like a total, it's like a, you gotta mix together a whole bunch of early stuff here. So here I've got Beatlemania with duct tape. Beatlemania in the sky with duct tape. I hate myself. This is pretty much whatchamacallit, Meet the Beatles, and Canadian. It's the Canadian Meet the Beatles. And but it is missing, what's it missing? Or no, I don't even think it's missing anything. Anyway, but it's got, for me, I mean, the one I always want to hear is like, since she's been gone, I wanna want to talk to me. Or it's not that key. It's something to see. So don't bother me. I can't believe that she will leave me on my own. I used to know how that. Oh yeah, it's like that. Since she's been gone, I want no one to talk for me. That move there is what I was trying to find. It's like you're doing a G, and then G7. It gives you this flat 2, and like that for an early Beatles song. Lame, it's lame to see. So go away, leave me alone, don't bother me. I love the song. I love the sound. It's got a weird tremolo. It's got a sentiment I can get behind. Don't bother me, you know? Fuck. All right, and then the next 3. Oh, I lost track of numbers here. This is, I don't have a Please to Meet Me by the Replacements. I don't have a Please Me in the race here, but I do have the great Canadian album Twist and Shout, and yeah, this is great. And look at the artwork. It's just, the standard has not been established yet, I guess. And yeah, a couple Canadian albums, and I think they're the same. It's basically a Please Me, but without it doesn't open. It opens weak with Anna. It doesn't open with I Saw Her Standing There. But you do get From Me to You and She Loves You at the end of each side. So it's like you start out boring and you go, or like, especially you start out boring and then it just gets better and better and better, and better. So it's a good little record. And then I got this one, which I don't think, oh, me and Marvin listened to it. Got this baby at Facebook Marketplace, so it's pretty recent. And yeah, it's that VJ thing, their version of, it does have I Saw Her Standing There, and that's great. So, and this is not a real one. This is a, you know, bootleg or whatever. Okay, where are we at in order? So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay, we're getting into the top 10, but this is number 11. Good old Magical Mystery Tour. Ah, love it. And I think I got one of these at Pandemonium, or not Pandemonium, Neurotica on Queen. So I got that a long time ago for $5. It's like to be some kind of promo, Beatles promo. And then, oh, what a mess. And then this one I got at Salvation Army in Toronto, and it actually has the book. A lot of them are ripped. This one, it actually looks beautiful, and it's got the book, and it's an orig, you know, like a 60s version of it, I think. And okay, here we are, number 10. I got Hey Jude. Really? This must be a mistake. Well, it's a week. It's a week number. How could it be ahead of Magical Mystery Tour? I guess I screwed it up, but it's pretty. My point is, it's good. I like this, and the first version I got to listen to, I think, was my sister's on a cassette, and I farted, didn't I? Oh man. Okay. So. And that's where I first got to hear Old Brown Shoe. And what time is it here? Oh, it's getting late. It's getting late. I'm farting all over the place. And it's got a good, it's that great guitar solo on Old Brown Shoe, which I cannot play, but it's fantastic. And I think that's really what sticks with me about Hey Jude is you get Brown Shoe on there, and then you get all the other good singles and stuff, but okay, man, okay, yeah, this ranking, I think, I don't know what, I guess I got sentimental for a while, so we're getting into the sentimental stuff that is people who didn't have sentiment would feel is shit, and that would be this thing, the much maligned 20 Greatest, and I think it's just got weird masters that they're using and stuff, but I got it on tape, a cassette, and for Christmas, and it was my first Beatles tape, and I listened to that like crazy, and yeah, it was a cherished tape for sure, and I had a Beatles music book too, so I could listen to songs off of tape and learn them on the Beatles book, and then eventually start calling radio station to request, and those days without the internet it was so much harder, but by that token you felt more rewarded when you found something really hard to get, like Beatles record. So yeah, that's just there for sentimental reasons. And then okay, but this one, I think this one my mom had, and we used to put this baby on and go skating around on the living room floor in our socks, and yeah, just so fun. And yeah, but you know, people probably don't like it because a lot of it is the zany instrumental versions, which I can't hate. I friggin' was skating around on my socks as a 5-year-old, just loving them. And they are high energy and played by, you know, like session man pros, but still they are fun. Like, and so yeah, love the original soundtrack. I think this thing is battered to hell, but I love it. But I think that's not my mom's original. Hers is still at their house. So okay, and then I got good old Rubber Soul, and this is like a UK type Rubber Soul, and this is actually recent. Before this, I had you know, one a 2019 or whatever, and this is like a 70s English one. You can tell because of how thin everything is, but this is good, but it has less bass than modern versions, which is interesting. Kind of it's frustrating too sometimes, but yeah, first hearing Rubber Soul, the first thing I heard off of Rubber Soul, oddly enough, was or, I once had a girl, should I say? She once had me. She showed me a room, isn't it good? Norwegian wood. Would you like to come over to my house and listen to Beatles for Sale at number 9, I think, or something like that? Oh man, we're getting close to the top. So I love Beatles for Sale, and I'm not saying I love all the crappy songs, or not the crappy, but there's some harsh tones on like Kansas City and Mr. Moonlight. I like Mr. Moonlight. I mean, you can't think of it as an annoying cover. Think of it as a byproduct that's just hanging around in their albums from Hamburg. You know, it's part of that completely crazy Hamburg set they're doing where they're, you know, and stuff keeps popping up like Till There Was You and, you know, corny show tunes. And I think that is something that I love about the Beatles, is that they have this period of doing Taste of Honey and just the fact that, like, you know, that's coming from McCartney, and just the fact that he was able to get those guys to do it, and it was the environment where they're playing in a bar for like whatever 8 days a week, and it you know, it just seeps out in their music. And I like that in the Get Back documentary too, when they're doing the Third Man theme and like, you know, stuff you wouldn't expect. And I like too how John is taking the lead on that, and he's like, he's just got the scrappiest tone, and he just keeps relentlessly playing the instrumental. And that's, I think, one of my favorite, that would be one of my favorite performances in the new Get Back, you know, aside from the rooftop. And but even still, I might even like it better than the rooftop is fucking amazing. Like, to sound that good on the roof, that's pretty not easy to do. So we got White Album. Okay, I can find out what number this is. This is number 1, 2, 3, 4. This is my 5. Beatles White Album. And this is, I got a bunch of different ones. These are like 70s ones. Or you can see one is laminated, and then one is got some ringware. I think that's my copy that I got at Neurotica. And yeah, basically, if there's a White Album, I'll get it. Then I got this grungy, extremely brutalized French copy on Cafe Marconi or something like that. But it seemed to belong to Giral in the who is a member of the Ramblers Club, maybe. So love this copy. It's and love the record. I mean, the first I got it though was wow, a lot of this stuff goes back to me and my sister. We were listening. We got it. She bought it for me as a Christmas present one year on cassette. And it was one of those Christmas presents you tell the person, and they're like, yeah, I want to hear that too. You know, and you kind of conspire and get your sister to buy you the White Album. But I think she would have bought it just as much for herself, because it was the big missing piece in our collection. And at the time, hard to come by, which is weird. Considering now, Donna's done at the bath. Now I see White Albums all over the place. Like, and it was a big selling record, but yeah, just we got it and listened to it all Christmas Eve night playing. What were we doing? Were we playing Legos? Just staying up late, or maybe playing Monopoly, playing like a really long Monopoly game, listening to the White Album, and that's what you do. Um, and though it would have at one time been my number one. I used to be crazy about it, but now when I look at it, it's a lot of it works on cult of personality. You know, like you have to, for the White Album to really resonate with you, you have to be like fully indoctrinated in being a Beatle fan, you know, and it hit me just when I was that, like just so Beatle-y. So, but for that reason, and are they? I feel it for the reason that they may be consciously encouraging that connection. I think that holds it down from being in the top five. Like there's something weird about it. And, you know, Charles Manson, he certainly responded to that. And actually that was one scary thing too. I was staying over at my friend's house one time, and in the spare bedroom there was a copy of Helter Skelter by, what's his name, Bugliosi, and I was just thumbing through it and noticing all the Beatles things, and just, you know, stayed up late just reading all the Beatles stuff in there, and you know, at that time I was pretty sensitive to gore. I still am, but like just that dark, I just remember being scared shitless looking at that book, but still not being able to stop, you know, just because it was so, I don't know. Do it sometime. Get yourself a copy and leaf through it and read all the Beatles stuff. It's like, ugh. Okay, so here we are at, I think, number 5. Oh no, number 4. So, yeah, good old Revolver. And this is like it looks like an 80s or 70s British version. And I like it because it's got the shrink all over it still. And I don't know why I like that. I think it's because my dad used to do that, keep them on, and I just think, oh yeah, it's a little time capsule then. And what did it cost? Marked down from $8.99 to $6.99. That seems more like a 70s price, so maybe this is a 70s. It's weird. Like, yeah, that would not be this. I know when I was buying records, this would have been $16 or something, like back in 80s, late 80s. So it can't be that, you know, because there's those 87s. Anyway, top 3. Ugh, Sgt. Pepper. Love it. I know, of course, it is flawed, or I wouldn't say it's flawed. It's just, it's overrated. But how are you rating it? You know, because you could rate specific things like consistency of how good the songs are, how unified something is. But this one, where it wins on me is just the mood. You know, and the mood is created by the sound effects and the production effects, which, you know, the Beatles used tons of later, everybody else did, but the way they combine on this record just sounds so unique. And it is a little freaky, the world it puts you in. And it's a very clean kind of, it's almost this surreal clean, there's a surrealness to how clean the sound world is. It's, and I can remember the first, I shouldn't tell so many stories, but the first version we got was a cassette dub, and it was only had one channel, like the right channel. And you know, the panning on that was so extreme. So to only have one channel was just, you'd have just no hint of what was over here, and but fucking loved it, you know, especially picture yourself in a boat on a river, tangerine trees, marmalade skies. Somebody calls you, you answer quite slowly. Girl with kaleidoscope eyes. Cellophane flowers of yellow and green towering over your head. Look for the girl with the sun in her eyes, and she's gone. Oh yeah. Lucy in the sky with diamonds. Lucy in the sky with diamonds. Lucy in the sky with diamonds. Yeah. So, number 2, Hard Day's Night. Just totally love. It's such a strong statement, and it's a strong John statement. And to me, I'm a John fan, through and through. And here he's just, I mean, McCartney's killing it, and George, you know, Happy Just to Dance With You, love it. But Ringo's got no tune on here, right? But John, yeah, he dominates the writing, and just it's the early Beatles energy, but there are like more bongos and stuff on there. Like the production is at its peak for this era, and the energy is fucking just like it's like the machine is just operating at just peak efficiency. And yeah, I love and the thing is, yeah, we had the United Artists soundtrack for a long time, but then finally when we got this, and it's like, what? There's all these other tunes on here, man. Like, and you know, Anytime at All, I'll Cry Instead. And at first they almost sounded like fake Beatles songs to me, but like just the string of like Anytime at All, yeah, I'll Cry Instead, friggin' love. That riff is just every reason on earth to be mad. I just lost the only girl I had. If I could get my way, I'd get myself locked up today, but I can't, so I'll cry instead. Don't wanna cry when there's people there. If you wanna make, here's some advice about songwriting. If you wanna make just an interesting little fun song to play, use a 12-bar blues in G, G7, C7, and D7. And then when it's time to feel bored, you go to a B minor and do a bridge with a B minor. So many of those early tunes do that, and it, you know, like I'm so glad. It's such a lovely formula. And then, yeah, number 1. This video is really long. Abbey Road. And I got a couple, I like the sleeve on this one. Yeah, I got a couple versions. I think one I got at the buy and sell for like $2, and another one I got at Pandemonium in Toronto. or not Pandemonium, Neurotica, and that's my favorite. The thing that I keep getting texts. I should say one sec. Okay, the thing that I gotta say about that album, I don't love the LP best, but I don't have the version that I love best, which is that 80s cassette. And the reason I love that is because it opens with comes the sun. So it goes through Here Comes the Sun, and then goes straight into like something in the way she moves. Much different vibe than opening with Come Together, you know, which is like, it's kind of like saying, it's just got this like dark, hey man, the 70s are here. You better not be happy anymore. It's like, yeah, the other one is like, it's an optimistic, beautiful George time. And that, you know, even if you make a playlist on, you know, Spotify or something, you know, the version where you put Come Together at the start of side 2 and Here Comes the Sun at the start of side 1, you know, because then in the middle you've got this dark Come Together, but then it goes into the zany medley. And okay, so that would be the number one for me, Beatles Abbey Road tape. And I did buy that with my own money, I remember. Or I got the money from winning. This was in grade 8 too. So I got a $30 check for general proficiency. And that was the last time I got anything in school. It's like after that, my marks just kept going down and down until I was getting like 52 in math. And it's just, but I got that award for proficiency and I bought the Beatles Abbey Road tape with it. And it was such a funny joke, like proficiency. It's not a complete moron award. Didn't win any awards, but okay, I gotta go. Peace on earth, goodwill to men.